Hi everybody, it's Alyce-Kay Rucklehouse from Threshold of Hineni in Sweetwater, Tennessee. That's in East Tennessee because you probably have never heard of Sweetwater. It's halfway between Chattanooga and Knoxville. And I am doing kind of a tribute to my mom while I work on a journal for her. And it's not properly a junk journal because it doesn't have a lot of the components that junk journals have. So it's kind of a hybrid between a junk journal and just a journal. But anyway, I wanted to finish my tribute to her before I have to start work. I'm missing a picture. I thought you might want to see a picture of my mom. And this is her right here, Lynn Hanish. I've been saying my mom and haven't even been saying who she is. This is, these are her friends, a group of friends that are called the 5 Faithful Friends, and they get together once or maybe twice a year, I can't remember, for a retreat, and just, you know, are really open with each other and everything, and that's just really cool. You need friends like that. You need people that you can be just really transparent with. And so we have Carol and my mom Lynn, Marilyn, and Joni and Debbie. And Joni walked with my mom the first time that she went across the U.S. in 2003, 2004. Okay, this is my dad, Dave Hanish. And then this is my Aunt Lois. This was on or around her 90th birthday. Her family had taken her to Disneyland, and my mom and Aunt Gail flew in to surprise her. And at the point that this picture is being taken, Aunt Lois doesn't even know that they're there yet. She hasn't. They came up from behind, so she hasn't noticed that they're there. So that's pretty cool. And I had a picture of my mom's dog, Pearl, but I don't know what happened to it. It's here somewhere. It will show up. Anyway, I'm going to do something with those in this book, and I have a few pockets that I want to put in. I went ahead and put in all those little flip page things. See, so here's how it works, is that she can write here, she can write here, she can write here, she can write here. It just gives her like more pages in the book. Okay, so I'm going to put in some corners. Oh, and you may have noticed that I don't throw away my scraps. I save them all. Now I've sorted through these and I've gotten rid of the ones that I can't use. But all these I'm going to use for something a little later. One of the things I'm going to do with it is make a belly band for my mom, because my mom sounds like the kind of person who needs something called a belly band, right? So you'll find out what that is, and I know she'll use it. So anyway, I was talking about how she started her walks. So she had wanted, when she was, I think, like 14 or 15, she and a friend wanted to ride their bikes across the U.S. And I don't know if they wanted to do it right then, or if it was something that they were hoping to do, you know, like someday kind of thing. But anyway, they wanted to do that. So that was something that's always that's been in her mind for a long time. Do you want that there or maybe here? No, I like it here. And so, anyway, so then when she started walking, pushing my grandma in her wheelchair, and they would go, you know, 15, 20 miles and stuff, and that was like, you know, it got to be like no big deal. After a while, she started planning an annual walk to San Francisco. Actually, before that even, the year I graduated from college, she and my ex-husband walked the Pacific Crest Trail, the Pacific Coast Trail. And it's like 1,088 miles or something like that. And they walked that. I walked 250 miles of it, and then I drove for them. Because what we did was we had a motorhome, and we were living in the motorhome, and I would go pick them up, check on them every once in a while, bring them lunch, go do laundry and grocery shopping and stuff, and then pick them up at the end of the day and take them back to where they had started at the beginning of the day. Okay, so Mom, these little corner thingies here that I'm putting in, I don't know if you can see it, like this one, there's a pocket right here, so you can stick something hanging down from there if you want. But the main idea is for you to be able to write like the Bible verse that you're reading that day if you want, or maybe a quote or something that you want to highlight from your devotions, or maybe you want to have somebody else write something there or something. Anyway, it's for whatever you want, but those are just like some ideas. So which way does this go? I have to be careful that I don't do this upside down, because that can happen. I have done that before. So they had walked the California Trail. It was the whole coast of California from Tijuana, Mexico, up to the Oregon border. And then 10 years later, in 1993, she and her friend Sue walked Oregon and Washington, or I think they started up at the top of Washington and walked all the way down to California. So they did that without any support vehicle. It was just them walking, and where they were going to stay for the night was where they walked to. So that was challenging. And then in 2003, she and Joni, that I showed you, and my daughter for a good portion of it, walked from the northwest corner of Washington State with the Canadian border to Key West, Florida. So they covered quite a few states that way, and it took them, I think, approximately 15 months. And then a year or two later, not very long later, she walked the East Coast, and she did that pretty much by herself. There were different people who joined her to drive her support vehicle, which was a van, for her. And I know somebody from a radio station was with her for a while, which was really nice. I think the radio station was actually paying for that person to drive her, which was really, really nice. And my cousin came out and stayed with her for a while, and also a lady from our church, a really good friend of ours, came out and drove for her and stayed with her for a while too. So she had, various people helping in different ways and at different times. But some of the time she was just completely on her own, and, didn't have anybody driving for her or whatever. I don't remember how she got back to the car at those times, but she worked it out. So, so she's been doing this for a while. So the idea of the walk that she's on right now, and she prayer walks. So, she's praying for people. She's praying for the states and the places that she walks through, and just whatever God puts on her heart. And she's also, taking requests. If people see her, a lot of times people will see her when they're going down the road, and they'll turn around and come back, and they'll find out what she's doing, and they want her to pray for them. So of course she does. And I don't know if she's keeping any kind of journal of that this time or not. On her other walk across the U.S., they left memorial stones at each place. So they wrote on a stone that place had been prayed for and when and that kind of thing. And some of those stones they found since then were discovered by people and put into, various places like City Hall or whatever, so that they wouldn't get wrecked in any way or anything. And then also another walk that she did was the California Prayer Walk, which my daughters and I also did. And that was, we did it with a team of 23 people, and my daughters were 6, 7, and 8 years old when we did it. And so it was like 800 miles, but nobody on the team walked that whole amount, because each day we were split up into, who was going to walk where and everything. But I think my mom was one of the ones who probably walked the most, and she was part of what we called the Bungee Team, because if there was some place that was going to be really difficult, like it had washed out with a mudslide and they were going to have to find a way to walk and stuff, Steve Hawthorne, who was in charge of the whole thing, would send her and I think it was Shari Milligan and Dave Hewitt, who's with YWAM in Hawaii now. They were the Bungee Team, and so they were the three that would go and, have to figure out a way where there was no way, kind of thing. And they did, one time they were lost, and it was really scary because nobody knew where they were. And I remember Mike Griffiths came to me and he said, we haven't heard from your mom, we don't know where they are. And it was just really scary. And I can't remember for sure, cell phones were kind of a new thing back then, and I think she had a big cell phone that she had in her fanny pack. I may be wrong on this, okay, but I think she had left the cell phone out of her fanny pack, or maybe it was her, this little blanket, a foil blanket that you fold up real small. I think it was that, actually. She had left it out in favor of a candy bar. Because chocolate is really the most important thing, right? I would have done the same thing. So there was that walk. So then this walk is different. My dad hasn't gone with her on any of the other walks. He has stayed home and paid the bills and worked really hard and everything, and told people that his wife walked out on him. The shocked looks that people give when he says that, it's really funny. And anyway, this time he is with her, and so that's really different, and then they're just a lot older. They're in their she's in her late 70s and he's almost 80, and he'll be 80 this year. And so so this is just a real challenge. Oops, I need to have that cut. And it's different. But this time also, she's not taking she's never taken a direct route, but with the California walk, the first one that we did in 1983, we were taking the Pacific Coast Trail. And with the Oregon and Washington walk, I think they basically stayed on Highway 1 or something like that. And, for the most part, there are places where you can't walk. And so you have to figure out a way around that. And then, for the California Prayer Walk, we walked on the California Mission Trail, which was El Camino Real. Not that it was all that direct or anything, because there were places where it had washed out and stuff. But on the walk across the U.S. in 2003 and 2004, there was no direct route from Washington to Key West, Florida, and so there was just a lot of, and she's always kind of avoided the large cities and tried, except for on the California Prayer Walk when we didn't have any control over the route. And has tried to, kind of go through small town America. On the East Coast walk, she did walk through New York and Baltimore and Washington, D.C., even though people told her not to go through Baltimore because she just felt like she needed to pray through those places. And, if God calls you to do something, you're safer doing that than doing anything else. Not that people don't get killed doing God's will. People do. But you know what I mean? And so... So this time, she is trying to hit all of the places, all the states that she hasn't walked through before. I think I want to put something here. No. How about this one? All the places that the states that she hasn't walked through before. And so the route is just really crazy up and down, and she's also not just walking straight through. She and Dad are walking. Well, Dad's mostly driving, but he walks a little bit. They're, what am I trying to say? They're doing the northern states in the warm months and the southern states in the cold months, which is just a really, really good idea. When she and Joni and my daughter walked in 2003, 2004, they were in the worst part of the Midwest for the snow during the winter. And so, I just think that it's really smart that they're breaking it up. She doesn't feel like she has to walk directly. And right now, there are some changes that are going to take place to the way that they're doing it too. So, she's really learned some flexibility, I think, which is really good. We all have to do that. Flexibility is not my strong point, that's for sure. I want to make sure I have this right side up, so I don't sew anything in weird. And how does this one go? This way? I think, yeah. Okay, I've just a few more of these corner pockets that I need to figure out what to do with. How are we doing time-wise? Oh, we're doing great. Okay. So yeah, so I mean, that's kind of it. She and my dad are really involved in their church back at home in Paso Robles. They moved there from Campbell back in, I think it was 1998, but I'm not 100% sure, so I don't know. I think it was 1998 though. And they've loved it. They've really loved it there. They've been in a great church and everything. So anyway, I think that's it. Boy, there's probably something like really important that I've forgotten to tell about. But like I said, I was just going to tell whatever came to mind. And I didn't say anything super gossipy or anything, right? I think it was all okay to say. Oh, I think one thing I didn't tell about was before, well, it was after she did the California walk back in 1983, but I think, I don't know. I think that was just, one-time thing, and there wasn't a real plan to keep walking all these things and stuff. And she started walking from San Jose to San Francisco, which is about 50 miles every year. And she would plan it as a group event. And of course, my mom's motto is, if there's a longer way, take it. And so I don't think it was ever just 50 miles. I think sometimes it was probably close to 100, because she just planned it that way. She's ornery that way. And wanting to challenge everyone. No, it's just, she tried to do a different way each time. And so she had a lot of fun planning it and everything. And so, yeah, so for many, many years, she did that annual walk. And it was a week-long thing where a lot of people would join her for Saturday, walking across the Golden Gate Bridge. And there'd be a few people who would join her for the other part. Some of them joined her for the whole thing, some just for one day and stuff. And it was really well planned out and everything. And it was just a really good thing. And I think one time she and her friend Sue, I believe, walked nonstop from San Jose to San Francisco, 50 miles. I mean, like, they stopped, to rest and stuff, but they didn't stop to sleep. And that was quite a challenge. And then she and Sue also walked up Mount Whitney a few times too. And they had some real adventures with that. So, but I don't know those stories well enough to be able to tell them. So you're going to have to get those stories from her. Anyway, I think that's it. And if you want to see this when I finish it, I will do a flip through sometime, which I'll probably post at the same time that I'm posting these videos. So thank you for watching. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I hope you feel like a celebrity with your hour-and-a-half tribute on YouTube here. I love you, and Bill loves you, and I will talk to you. Bye-bye. Love you all. Bye-bye.